And I know it's a little cold out right now, but I think shorts are fine. I've been thinking. I don't think I can do YouTube anymore. I think there's something more to that. You wanna know what? Why not I try podcasting? I like talking. I like talking to myself, so maybe podcasting is a good idea. That'll probably be a better thing. Heck, I might just actually do a walking podcast. I like walking and talking. That's fun. Just grab my equipment and head out for a walk. Bye, guys. Hey guys, I'm back, and yes, I am officially coming out and saying that I am quitting YouTube, mainly because I just can't maintain it, so I'm going to try podcasting. I have the podcast mic anyway, and I'm going to call it Tomcast, and I'm literally just going to be talking about what's in the world that's happening with Tom. I'll provide a link in the description for that, so go hit the link down below. Okay, you guys know I'm lying here. You didn't click this video for me to sponsor a new podcast here. Actually, no. I'm here to talk about a podcast. Now, the podcast that I'm going to be talking about is Distractible. And Distractible is a podcast made by Markiplier, or Mark Edward Fishbop. Mark, don't kill me. I said Fishbop. It's Fishbach. Wade Barnes, better known as Lord Minion 777, and Bob Myskirm, which is just Myskirm. I'll link their channels in the description, but I'm pretty sure you can find them easily by just typing their names. So, let's begin. The first things I'm going to be going over is the premise of the podcast, like the idea, what they're doing, topics they'll discuss, and would I recommend this? So the first thing in the podcast that we're going to be going first is the layout. The layout of the podcast is basically where Mark, Bob, or Wade are the host, and either two people who are not the host automatically compete against a topic that the host brings up. The goal is to try to bring the strongest argument to become the host for the next week's episode. It's very simple, and they kind of go over it every single time, and whenever they bring up a topic, it could be anything. Like, it could be like the sun crashing into the earth, or why the door in your room won't open, or anything like serotonin, what actually makes you feel good. That's actually a really good episode. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, but you may be wondering, what is the whole point of them getting distracted? Why is it called Distractible? They get distracted. That's why they call it that. They'll just jump on tangents. Like, they'll just be talking about one thing, and then they'll just jump onto hundreds of different tangents along the way. It's really kind of funny, but I really enjoy that part of the podcast, though. I like it where Mark, Bob, and Wade just, kind of forget the competition aside and just start randomly talking about nonsense, giving ideas or weird theories or what could happen, what can happen. It's what's fun about why you should give this a listen. But we need to go deeper than that. So that's basically the entire show in a nutshell. They just lose track of everything, and they'll just forget who wins. And I don't even think they properly keep score of who's going to win, though, and I think that's kind of funny, and I kind of think the scoring thing is arbitrary. I don't really like that part. When they announced that in the very first few episodes of Distractible, it just kind of felt like it was a gimmick, and it just got old really quick. I don't really like that, and honestly, I just kind of feel like it slows the podcast down. It's still fun to listen to, but I don't really think the competing aspect of ideas is something that's very good, because one contestant can have it and the other contestant cannot have it. Sometimes I kind of mostly think other hosts will bring up better topics, and then I'd rather just have them shift of what topic they want, and then who actually wins, and then, they'll shift the host. But I don't really think that's the case. I think they should just be talking just about anything in general. I think that's what makes Distractible likable in the first place. It's just them talking. I think that mostly came from... Mostly, I believe the idea of these podcasts came from their Tuesday live streams on Twitch that was called Three Peens, and that was the fun part of listening to those on Twitch. You could just have them on in the background and just be listening to some random nonsense they're talking about. It was supposed to be like a gaming podcast, but they would just get cut off so easily That literally it just wasn't worth it. And honestly, it was actually kind of fun listening to those things, and I looked forward to those Tuesday live streams. Those actually were very fun to listen to and be part of. Just listening to them in general and then automatically having them playing games after was really fun, and I really enjoyed that. Sadly, they stopped doing that just to produce these episodes, and although they did come back to Tuesday live streams, I don't think they'll be coming back to those anytime soon, especially with In Space with Markiplier, which automatically by the time you're watching this, part 2 had already come out. I haven't seen it yet, but it's coming close to that. It's coming out this Monday by the time this is being recorded. So yeah, this is recorded way in advance of the episodes coming out. So anyway, just listening to them talk is what I really enjoyed about Mark, Bob, and Wade. Is just that's their part of that character. I think they just like talking amongst themselves, and they're friends. And I think good conversations can happen with your friends and also your family, and that's what I really like about what Distractible offers. Is that relatability and that knowing of what's happening and stuff like that. And also, you tend to learn about them a little bit. Mark tends to be a little bit egotistical and kind of tries to stand out, but also be very sympathetic. Wade tries to be funny and automatically doesn't really seem to land a joke, but every now and then he'll land a pretty good joke and say a lot of weird things. And Bob, he tries to be nice, but he's not really nice. He's the person that stabs you in the back. But, he's actually one of my favorite of the whole entire bunch. Some people may think Bob isn't funny, but I think Bob is the best. I think of Bob as mostly that shitty side character that you have to the left of you that just automatically annoys, and that I feel like is basically Bob in a nutshell. He's just this uncaring character and just says a lot of stupid things, and it just makes me laugh. Especially if you haven't seen In Space, he plays this one character, and he deserves an Academy Award. No ifs, ands, or buts. Bob is the best actor that Mark has ever gotten. Off that side tangent, as someone who is a fan of Markiplier and Three of the Guys, I'm subscribed to both of them. If you're a Markiplier fan, you are really going to enjoy this podcast. Like if you like watching them and stuff like that. But if you're just a frequent podcast listener, it's probably going to be a mixed bag. If you're into specific types of podcasts, whether it just, be gaming podcasts or movie podcasts or, like Joe Rogan or any of those other types of things. I don't listen to Joe Rogan personally. I don't really like it. But I don't think you're going to find this interesting. If you're a Markiplier fan, you're going to find some joy out of this, but if you're just a frequent podcast listener, I don't really think you're going to get much. You're mostly just going to be mad at the concept of maybe a constant host happening every single week and a biased score system that either host does, and I kind of feel like that's its weak part. Also, when the first episode came out, it was very, very, very weak. The show, although many people would think it actually started strong, I kind of think the first episode is not a must-listen. It is really bad. I mean, they're talking about hair, but there's like a part in the episode where it just gets stupid that I really think this was a very bad first start. The later episodes kind of seem to make it stand out better, but when the very, very first episode came out, it was just very weak and stuff like that. I think what actually got the show up and running, or the podcast in general, was Bob's Fridge. If you haven't listened to Bob's Fridge, it is the most recommended episode, and I would recommend it to you guys. It is very funny. I laugh so hard when I listen to it. It also makes me very angry, and what happened to Bob in that entire process of getting his fridge was the worst. Man, poor Bob. But just going back to that, if you want to give Distractible a listen, I'll link it down in the description below. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. They also have a YouTube channel as well. And let's be clear, I hate it. It's not that good. I thought when they announced the YouTube channel, it would just be them talking, but instead it's animations of them talking, like just puppet figures that's made by Lixian. Now, nothing against Lixian, though. Lixian is a really, really, really good editor, and I think he's one of the best editors I've ever seen for a popular YouTuber like Markiplier. But I think you're better than that, Lixian. I mean, you could make better animations than that. Or maybe the whole entire Distractible podcast will be better off without the animations and just the guys on side screens talking. I mean, they did used to do, what's that word called? Like, multi-stream stuff, where you could actually watch that. They used to do that when they used to stream on Twitch. But just doing an animation thing, although it may be cool, I rather wish, you just had a camera of them just talking. I would love to see a live-action version of Bob's reaction to how his fridge was delivered. I would have loved to see his face in the process. Because just the way Bob talks, I mean, it's animated. I just want to see his reaction. Like, he does the best gasps and stuff I've ever seen any YouTuber do. It's just so funny. So, is this podcast worth listening to? Maybe, if you like it. But other than that, it might not be your cup of tea. But I'm not only here promoting just Distractible, I'm also promoting another podcast that Markiplier did, which is called Go My Favorite Sports Team. And he does that with Apocalypto_12, or Tyler. I forget his last name, sorry, sir. And let's be clear with this, I feel like that is a little weak. You learn about sports, but I think Markiplier thinks that he can put Distractible into a sports podcast, which I don't even think that actually works. So, Markiplier, if you're watching this, which I doubt you are, please tone it down. I'm on that podcast to learn. I recently listened to a baseball episode he did, and I kind of felt like Mark was letting that down, and that doesn't even give up the fact that I am a baseball fan, although at the beginning I was wearing a Niners football hat, but that's besides the point. I just want to be able to learn about sports. Like, I knew a lot more about football than I did, and I learned to appreciate baseball, which I really like what the Go My Favorite Sports Team did. Or should I say, GO My Favorite Sports Team. But I just want to learn about sports. I don't want Mark kind of interjecting some stuff in there and just ruining it. So, yeah. Not the best, I would say. But it's really fun to listen to, and if you like sports, or if you're not into sports, give Go My Favorite Sports Team a try. I should also link that in the description below, too. Kind of spread the word. If you don't know that podcast actually exists, it does. And if I'm not going to give a full review of it, that's just a brief review. Give it a listen, though. If you're into sports, or you want to learn about sports, just listen to that. Listen to the football primer, listen to the baseball primer, although Mark kind of ruins it, and listen to the basketball primer because they do start talking about math in that. And I think that's kind of fun. So those podcasts, they're not like learning podcasts or mysterious podcasts in general, but they're fun to listen to. I really wish I kind of would learn some things from those podcasts. I do, and sometimes I don't. It's not like a particular type of mystery podcast, like this new podcast that I just discovered called Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World, or like a news podcast, which what 3 Peens was supposed to be, but for gaming news, or just a learning podcast, which I don't even know if those things exist. Maybe I should listen to more podcasts more often. Anyway, I really like listening to Distractible. It's a highlight of my week, and I always try to find time to watch an episode. I have way too much free time, so why not just listen to it when I'm actually taking a walk, or just doing it in the background when I'm on a lunch at work, or when I'm doing stuff after my job closes and stuff like that, like the store that I work at in general. So I just want to say thanks, Mark, for making something that I enjoyed. I really enjoyed those Tuesday live streams, and I do want them to come back, but I just don't think they will, and I think that's for the better. Things have changed, and I guess it's time to move on. So just thanks, Mark, for making a podcast that I'm happy to have downloaded onto my phone and looking forward to listening to. And thanks for Go My Favorite Sports Team, although you tend to ruin the sports for me, Mark. And yeah, that's it. And Bob is the best person I've ever listened to on the podcast, and Wade. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching me. Please leave a like and comment down below what your favorite part of the podcast is. And also let me hear what you guys actually like about the podcast if you listen to it. And I'll link all their channels, the podcasts in general that I have mentioned throughout this video. And I'll see you guys in another video. Stay amazing. And I am going to swing out of here. Although there's no rope. Maybe I'll just walk out. I think that's... Maybe that is... Yeah, just walk. I'll just walk. I was supposed to go on a walk. Yeah, I have to listen to the new episode of Distractible. Forgot what it was. Why did I take my glasses off to put on a hoodie? So yeah, bye. Check those podcasts out. They're really good. Love Markiplier. Best YouTuber ever. He's really good there. Don't mind, I need to grab my bottle. Bye guys! Take care.